Hello everybody and welcome back to Stealwing33 Plays Dark Souls 3. I'm Stealwing33 and today I'm going to make another run at the Abyss Watchers, but right after I do a little bit of housekeeping and warming up a little bit, because it has been a couple of days since I played any Dark Souls at all, and I need to get a little warmed up a little bit here, so we're going to come this way a little bit. I know there's a couple items over here, as well as one Crystal Dogo, which I need to kill in order to get the crystal scales, in order to get, you know, my items and stuff upgraded later. Because I am planning on building the Farron Greatsword, as was requested by Dingus Scooblin a little bit earlier. He said that it was a good item, and I am inclined to agree with him. I've also never used it, so, you know, I am curious to see how good it is. I've seen it in action before. I know it's a semi-decent PvP weapon, if nothing else, so I don't know. We'll see about that. But I need these Titanite scales in order to upgrade it, so it's worth my time to come here and cut these dudes down a little bit. Open that door up, grab the Great Magic Weapon spell, which is very good if you are doing a magical build, if you're doing high intelligence, or if you're being a pyromancer for that matter. Great Magic Weapon is very, very good. It's very much in your favor. Pyromancers have a little bit of an easier time because they have access to the Carthus Flame Arc spell, which is pretty good. But you can get away with not having to do that kind of stuff. Who is this? Are you somebody? Londor Pale Shade. Alright, well, let's summon it. Screw it, why not? I think that's an NPC, so I'm willing to... You guys know the rules. I am willing to summon NPC help, as 99% of the time they are nothing better than a distraction. They will not make the fights terribly easier. What up? Sweat the bow. Dual bow. Nice. Come, Pale Sage. Pale Shade. Whatever. Are you gonna hit me? Are we bad? Are we against each other here? Nope, we're good. Alright, we're gonna summon him, and then we're gonna try to get Gothard, probably, if I had to say what our plan of action here is, because we are gonna beat the Abyss Watchers on this episode. No matter how many times it takes me to fucking fight these dudes, we're gonna beat them eventually. This guy with his, he's got the what's the word? He's got the hex homing soul masses, the ones that look like skulls. He might actually be very useful, because I do know that the Abyss Watchers are very, very weak to magic. They take a lot of damage from sorceries and things of that nature. And so it is in your interest, if you're having trouble and you're looking for the ideal PvE partner to summon, somebody who does magic is normally who I would recommend summoning. Especially somebody that's, like, you know, pretty decent at the game. If they have Soul Stream at this point, you know, that's worth doing. I know that you can get Soul Stream at some point in here. Oh no, you get Soul Stream at the library. Well, bottom line is that you can get Soul Stream. It's just not typically something that you're going to be crazy invested in here. All right, let's go ahead and just roll out of the way here. Ow! Try to get at least one of these assholes off of me. There we go. Kill one. Backstab the other. Stab him, and we're good to go. Right, cracked red eye orbs, not bad. Dark sword, super good. Recall, if you will, that on the last episode, I believe it was, I did mention the dark sword is exceptional in almost every way. If you are doing a sword and board run, where you're having a sword and a shield, for those of you who are not familiar with old World of Warcraft terms, so the Dark Blade is fantastic, especially if you're doing a high strength build. It has S-scaling strength if you put a heavy gem on it. We are going to go get our souls while the Londor Pale Shade gets the crap kicked out of him for a second here. And then we're going to run up and backstab the shit out of this guy here. Get some real damage down. Get some real pain going. Alright, we got the second one's getting up. I just heard him off in the distance. There he is. Right there. Ow. The Londor Pale Shade not doing as much damage as Gothard did, though, which is upsetting. But that's okay. We'll deal with it. Okay, so you can get like 3 good hits in before they do that roll and come at you with the fucking Sonic the Hedgehog Daredevil attack. Yeah, that one right there. Cool. Looks like the Pale Shade has finally lost aggro to Red-Eyed Man back there. We're doing alright. We're getting our ass kicked a little bit here, but nothing we can't deal with. Come on, hit the boss, not my partner, you stupid douche. Ow! Back up. You just gotta be careful. A lot of the Abyss Watcher's attacks can be dodged very easily by running into them, and then it also makes it very easy for you to get around the back of them if you can get if you roll towards them, which is good. Oh, come on, kill him, kill him, kill him. Yeah, we're good. Thumbs up. Second phase, we've got 5 Estus Flasks rolling into the second phase. The Londor Pale Sage, or Pale Shade, is still hanging in there. Yeah, this is a boss fight that it's a little too difficult without help. At least NPC help. If you're one of those purist guys and you're really gonna try to make a run at it without any aid whatsoever, my recommendation would be to try to just survive long enough for the red-eyed guy to pop up during this fight. And have him at least distract the other Abyss Watcher. Like, 1v1, these guys aren't that bad. But getting them ganged up on you can be pretty rough. Rough and tumble is not what you want to do in a game that's already sort of stacked against you. But we're doing alright. We're doing alright. Okay, cool. Pale Sage just healed himself, and we will distract the boss in this direction over here. Ow! Well, on the bright side, like I said, if nothing else, the Pale Shade is going to distract the boss, and he appears to be very fire resistant, which is good. Like, he seems to not take very much damage. He's super tanky. Ow. And he's got the dark hand as his shield, which is kind of cool. Backstab him there. Always try to just, like, the best advice I can give you against this boss, a boss that I am not good against, for the record. I'm actually doing surprisingly well this time around. I guess a nice break from Dark Souls really paid off. Just a small break, nothing too major here. Like, I didn't take like a month off. That'd be crazy. Come on, come on. Oh, don't die. All right, we're good. Woo. Alright, not bad, not bad. Lords of Cinder, the Abyss Watchers, soul of the blood of the wolf. Alright, that worked out. That worked out well. I'm pleased with that. Alright, so let's go ahead and hit the bonfire here. And then, I know that in the Carthus Catacombs we need to meet up with Henri, but I did forget to open up my, I've got like a cheat sheet of notes that I took about how to do the stupid ending here. This is the way to the Carthus Catacombs, if I'm not mistaken. The Catacombs are not that bad. The biggest issue you'll have is that if you are not prepared to deal with the Skelemans, they can get a little overwhelming. If you're using a blunt weapon, blunt weapons make them fall apart super good, which is why we might actually switch to the Drang Hammers during this part. But you gotta be very careful, because skeletons, when their eyes glow white like that, you guys probably saw this guy's eyes glowing white, they get back up. So once you kill them, they get back up. It's very, very important to be aware of that. These red-eyed guys are very fast. They also have the Carthus Milk Ring on, which, if you are not aware... Ah, shit. Well, I fell off. Alright, that's fine. I always do that at least once. The Carthus Milk Ring makes you disappear when you roll. And if you're not expecting it, it can be kind of scary. But this area is not that bad. There are a couple of areas where it is very easy to get swarmed, and if you aren't careful, you will die. Horrible deaths of deadly deathness. In particular, there is an area later filled with pots. If you break the pots too much, skulls come out and they attack you, and they hurt like hell. Whew. That area is pretty tough. There's an area with like a couple of these kinds of skelemans in it, where if you're not careful, again, you can really... I fell off again. Jesus Christ. It's a lot easier when you're using a mace, and you don't have to rely on rolling so much. Let's go ahead and switch over to the Drang Hammer, I guess. As our secondary weapon here. Where are the Drang Hammers? There they are. That'll put us at 69.6. Can we still roll? Yes, we can still roll. Okay. The Drang Hammers are a blunt weapon, and I'll show you on this first Skeleman why using a blunt weapon is good and good is dumb. You'll see that, like, watch. So when I hit this guy, he fell apart. You notice that, like, that's good because you can stun lock enemies with that, and it works on all of the skeletons in this area. It's a good thing. It's something I would recommend. If you're having a lot of trouble, find a blunt weapon that you like and just use it for this area. The Drang Hammers need to get upgraded at some point. It is something that I need to look into doing. So you can see, like, I even knocked, like, the big Skeleman here down. It's very nice, especially against, like, when you get swarmed like this, like, you can get a lot of work done by just... Oh, don't fall off again, please. That's embarrassing. They can get a lot of work done by just, like, spamming attacks, basically, which I know, like, sounds like it's supposed to feel weird, but nah, not down here. Dark Souls is a game about taking advantage wherever you can find it. Also, we're going to need to pop another Ember, because I need to stay embered as much as possible during the course of this playthrough in order to see as many red spirits and things like that as we can. That is something that's very important to me during the course of this playthrough, is that I want to see as many red spirits and get invaded and do all the silly Dark Souls things that we can. That way you guys get the full experience of it. Ow. Normally, like, you know, staying embered would not be as important to me. Ow. Okay, well, fuck you. How about that? Alright, cool. And then Hammer Thrust. Eagle Eye Hammer Thrust. Hammer Thrust. Alright. This button right here activates a bunch of arrows, as you can see. Those do hit bad guys. So if you are feeling particularly clever, you can indeed make the bad guys run into the arrow trap. Like, you can, like, activate it and then roll out of the way, and they will get hit by the arrows. Which can be very helpful. Very helpful indeed. Alright. Now, this guy over here with the shottle, he throws a bunch of daggers. If you're using a blunt weapon, these guys are a piece of cake. If you are not using a blunt weapon, good fucking luck, because these guys are really hard. But you can see that this is where a blunt weapon's really going to come in handy. The skeleton guys in particular are susceptible to your blunt weaponry, and if you are willing to part with, you know, your time a little bit, it can be very, very, very useful. That ethereal wall, you would know that if you had fallen off the bridge. There is a way to fall off the bridge down to here, and then you have to hit that wall to get out. I know about it because I've played enough Dark Souls to have a lot of that kind of stuff memorized. You know, the nice part about the Drang Hammers is that they actually have a very similar moveset to the mace. They're a little heavier, so the swing's a little bit longer on it for the most part, but they actually have a very similar moveset, so I'm actually very used to the way that these things attack, except for their L1 attack is a little clunky. That's okay. Yeah, so there's ethereal walls there. The Carthus Pyromancy Tome allows you to learn stuff like... like Flame Whip and Carthus Pyromancy Arc, or Carthus Flame Arc and stuff. Very much worth getting. I'd highly recommend it if you are a Pyromancy build. You should probably try to get all of them, to be honest. I know it seems like self-explanatory, but it is not something that I think most people would know. I mean, the locations, obviously, most people won't know because, you know, they're meant to be semi-hidden. But, we're doing alright. Alright, let's grab some of these items, and then we have to actually explore the Carthus ruins. Normally I would just bum rush through here and ignore most of these like side rooms and stuff, but we need to find Henri, and I don't know where she is. like offhandedly. I don't know where she is, but I know she's in here somewhere, and we need to find her in order to continue the Embrace the Darkness plotline. Which is the one that we are going for. It's the one that we're going for. I think she might be down here. It's like, I know she's past the first bone ball. Hey, there she is.
Oh,
you're right.
Hello. How very fortunate.
Yeah, you're right.
Have you seen my companion? To my shame, I was snared by a trap, and we've become separated. I've not been able to.
No, I haven't
Yes,
seen him.
see. Horace is a valiant knight. He's probably searching for me right now, with twice the resolve.
Yeah.
If you happen upon him, please tell him that I remain in the catacombs and will lay prism stones to guide him, as always.
Okay.
Please send him my word. May the flames go. If you happen upon
We need to keep talking to her until we run out of dialogue, which we did. Fantastic. So later, I know where Horace is, for the record, but later in the game, we are going to have to murder Horace in order to get the darkness ending that I seek. And going on that path is it's gonna be hard. Horace is not an easy dude to kill. His boss fight's a little rough, and it's hard to get him to be dead. Right. I guess that's sort of self-explanatory because he's hard to kill. But yeah, so this is an interesting area. This is where we're going to first experience a bone ball, which is coming up behind me right now. Hello, bone ball. The bone ball is your best friend and your worst enemy here. So the bone ball does roll back and forth, by the way, as you can see right here. It's very important not to get hit by the bone ball while you're on the staircase, because if you get hit by it, there's a very, very good chance that you will get knocked off the staircase by it. Ow, like that, I guess. God damn it. Okay, that skeleton pushed me into it. That's what I'm going with. God damn it, that sucks. I'm gonna die a lot here. There's a lot of areas where you can slip off, and a lot of areas where, like, you'll just get picked up by, like, 40 or 50 skelemans all at once, and it'll get pretty nasty if you're not careful. That's alright. Now that we don't have to go to Henri, and I can get, like, past a lot of this area without having to really, like, do too much work. We're gonna skip this bridge, for instance. Like, I'm gonna jump down there. You can see that if you turn down here, there's a very high chance that skeleman will follow you, but you can knock him off pretty easily. You can knock this guy off pretty easily. There you go. He's dead now. He's dead, Jim. You gotta be careful of this skeleman right here, because he can be a pretty tricky dicky. Tricky dicky. But you just... A lot of Dark Souls is about remembering where stuff is and being patient. And knowing, like, some of your matchups, like Skeleman bad versus blunt, right? Unarmored enemies are bad versus sharp, but they're good against... Or, no. Armored enemies are bad versus blunt, but good against sharp. Armored enemies are bad against blunt, but good versus sharp. Skeletons are bad against blunt, but good against sharp. And then, bosses generally do not share that same weakness, with a couple exceptions being Lorien, one of the Twin Princes, is weak against physical damage, but resistant to most kinds of elements. So if you're fighting him, and that's later in the game, we'll get there later, but if you're fighting him and you're watching this and you're just interested in the series, and you're having trouble, go with a physical weapon. It'll be good. He's the tiny one, not the big one. Alright, just keep Wreckerino this guy right here. Fantastic. And we'll just make our way down the bridge here. Yes, I'm aware that the bone ball will spawn behind me. Ow. So I'm gonna get hit there. There we go. Alright, took a little bit of damage, but that's perfectly fine. Fun facts about the bone ball. You can be defeated. You can't hit it. Okay. Instead, you come around this corner right here, and you see this guy with the funny hat? You fuck him up real hard. And the next time the bone ball crashes into a wall down here, it shatters. And then there's an item inside. It's always worth doing. Undead Bone Shard from that one. You get a Darkness Gem from the second bone ball. It's worth doing. I'd highly recommend paying attention to that, because the undead bone shard by itself is worth the time investment to try to kill that guy. Let alone, like, you know, the darkness gem a little less so, but darkness gems are super good. Well, if you're doing a pyromancy run, actually, darkness gems can be great. Darkness gems are a faith and magic scaling, or intelligence rather, scaling damage type. So they fit in perfectly with the whole, you know, being a pyromancer thing, because pyromancers need both faith and intelligence in order to learn. Most of their high-end pyromancies require both, at least a monochrome of both, and that's really important. So you see these urns with all the skulls in it, or I'm sorry, the ones with like the tapered, this one right here that I'm standing in front of, that one right there. If you break those, skulls fly out of them and they hit you and it hurts a lot. And it's very easy to get stun locked by them if you are not careful. So when you're swinging around in these areas, be aware, be made aware that rolling is bad, and traps are bad. And I think I stepped on one, and that's why that thing went off. Yeah, right there. This is the Carthus milk ring. If you're doing PvP, I'd recommend it. It increases your dexterity slightly while you're wielding it, so if you're a little bit off from using like a high dexterity weapon, and you don't feel like investing more points into levels right now, you can make it work by doing that. It is something that you would have the capability of doing. Alright, come here, Skeleman. Let's go. Come on. Oh, don't throw things at me. Come around the corner. No, stop it. Come around the corner. Fucking fine. I wanted to kill this guy away from the other dude because I don't want to get stun locked into oblivion by skulls. Ow. Ow. Heal yourself. Fool. Alright, run away. When in doubt, run away. Worst case scenario, the Falchion guy is going to follow me. This guy's going to follow me. Note that his eyes are not glowing red, they are glowing white. That means that he will get back up if I kill him. It's looking like I'm gonna kill him, because maces are OP against these guys. You can tell whether or not you actually killed somebody. Your soul counts will go up, and you hear the whap noise. Very, very good thing to take into account your sound cues. If you're playing without sound, I'd recommend not doing that. I have a buddy who plays a lot of video games without sound, but Dark Souls is not one that I would say you can get away with it. And in particular, just because there are stuff like there's stuff like the soul noise is important. Hearing enemies behind you is important. There are a couple instances that, you know, you can get really screwed if you're not paying attention to every ounce of sensory input that you are having available to you at all times. Ow. Cool. Alright, let's pull this guy back so I don't accidentally aggro the other dude. Cool. Knock that guy down. Cool. Fantastic. This would be going a lot better if I'd actually bothered to upgrade my Drang hammers before coming down here. But I did not. A, because I didn't have any souls or anything like that to really work with. But B, because, like, you know, I didn't feel like I didn't have the resources to invest in that earlier when I was doing upgrades for stuff. If you remember, I checked that out on, not on the last episode, but the episode before that, I think. It is something that I am planning on investing in, because having a blunt weapon it's good. It's in my wheelhouse, at least, if nothing else. Watch out for this pit here. If you fall down there, there's a bunch of rats. And you have to fight your way to the very easy to access bonfire if you instead just turn right. Or is it bone wheels? It might be bone wheels. Oop, that's a bone ball. Bye, bone ball. Alright. We are going to be following that bone ball, though. Because if you turn left here, bada bing, bada boom, there's a bonfire. We saw this earlier. The other bone ball was rolling around over there. We saw it through, like, the grating. I guess I didn't mention that while we were doing that, but that's okay. We're going to try to cut through the next area at least a little bit. I definitely want to activate the shortcut before we call it quits for this episode. So we'll endeavor to do that. But now that we've activated Henri, I'm feeling a little bit more confident. It'll be a lot easier for us to make our way through the ending that we have chosen to pursue. Keep in mind that all of the endings are... Or, correction, the ending that I'm doing, the way that I'm doing the game, is indeed optional. We're getting the crap kicked out of us here. The ending I chose is indeed optional. That's very important. We are going to kill... There's a red spirit that spawns down here, that I know spawns down here, and we are going to attempt to kill him. Mostly because I want to get that out of the way if we can. There's Sjorg. What up, Sjorg? Come this way. I'm going to get you hit by the bone ball. Oh, come on, bone ball. You're killing me. Alright, Sjorg's a little hard. Okay, so Sjorg's big thing is that he's another one of those, like, heavy weapon dudes. Where if you're not careful, it's really easy for you to get, like, super screwed by him. He's got a lot of stun lock, but he's very heavy. But if you make good, judicious use of the bone ball, as you have seen me do right there, it's not that hard. He's also got a lot of poise, so be careful trying to stun lock him if you're using a fast weapon like I am. These things can get in the way pretty easily. You can just kill Sjorg by having the bone ball kill him. It's not that hard. You just got to pay attention to the sounds, listen for when it's rolling back towards you, and then just sort of, like, you know, manipulate Sjorg in such a manner where he's going to get hit by it multiple times. Preferably twice would be good. You want to be careful not to go not stray too far away from the bone ball, because there are lots of other bad guys down here, and if you are not careful, it's very easy for you to get super fucked up by them while you are trying to fight him, and he's already hard without, you know, having to worry about too much else attacking you while you're doing it. So we're just rolling and spinning, waiting for the bone ball. The bone ball does a lot more damage than my swords do, which is why I'm waiting for it. And for literally no other reason, for the record. Got him. Alright. That was really risky, because he can kill you in like 1 or 2 hits if you're not careful. But fuck this guy. We ended up with the Night Slayer's ring, which is super helpful, and the My Thanks emote. The My Thanks emote's really good. It's funny, and it kind of looks like you're doing like a Macho Man Randy Savage pose, which, you know, I can dig. Let's pull out the maces again, because there's a lot more Skelemans down here. Particularly, there's one more Ninja Skeleman right here, and then there's a couple more upstairs that we are going to deal with, because I want to kill this bone ball in order to end up with a Darkness Gem. And to just kind of get it out of the way now that we don't need it to kill Night Slayer Sjorg. I have no idea how to pronounce that guy's actual name, so I normally when I don't know how to do it, I just sort of jam all the letters together into one sound, which I can appreciate being, you know, less than ideal for some of you, but yeah, I don't know how to pronounce that guy's name, so, you know, it's sort of what I'm left with as like an option is sort of, you know, just jamming all of the sounds together. Just gonna go ahead and stun lock this guy into oblivion with my R2. Easy peasy. Yeah, those ninja guys can be a real pain in the dick if you are not using a blunt weapon, for the record. Gotta be careful. You always gotta pay attention. I didn't notice that this guy had glowing white eyes. Otherwise I would have dealt with him a little bit more completely. He almost got us because I wasn't paying attention, but that's alright. Just keep stun locking him. Yeah, he's dead now. Oh, drop something. Hey, we got some more Kokiri, and we got a large Titanite shard, which is very helpful, and an Ember, which is actually super great, because we're trying to stay embered as long as possible during this run. As you all will probably remember from the like several 8,000 times that I've said it so far. We will deal with Bone Ball Man in a minute. For now, I want to deal with the Skelemans over here. Be careful of that Archer Skeleman. His arrows do apply bleed on hit because he has applied Carthus Rouge to them, which is a item that applies bleed to a bleed effect to the right-handed weapon. If you're using a dual weapon, it does apply to both. I found that out. No, that is not fire. That is indeed bleed. I know it looks like fire, but it's not fire. Just do the same thing we've been doing this whole time. Just melee him. Try to get him stun locked. You know, we're doing fine. That's basically what I'm trying to get at. If you're following along at home, great. If you have a blunt weapon, we have picked up several at this point. If you're just following along, we have picked up several blunt weapons. If I'm not mistaken, The great club counts, the reinforced club counts, the large club counts, the spiked mace counts, the great club counts. I think the... Oh, that's not the war pick. I don't know if the great scythe does. I know the Lucian does. Lucian? I don't remember I don't know how to pronounce that. Barbed straight sword's good. I know the dark sword will just make short work of everybody in this entire area. It already has C grade strength natively, which is super good. That goes all the way up to, I think that goes up to A when you apply a heavy gem to it. I think it might go up to S. The Drang Hammers, I think the Drang Hammers go up to S when you apply a strength gem to them, because they are not a special weapon, if I'm not mistaken. I do believe that you can apply... I think you can enchant them, if I'm not mistaken. There's a high chance I am, truth be told. But, you know, just remember that the highest quality rock-on-stick technology is your best friend. And what we have here is the highest quality in rock-on-stick technology. It is rock-on-stick times 2. So down here we have some bone wheel skeletons. Bone wheel skeletons are kind of scary. But if you are proactive about how you handle them, they are not that scary. And if you're using a blunt weapon, congratulations, they fall apart. So they're super frickin' easy. They have really low HP natively. Having a blunt weapon that stun locks them into oblivion also makes them super easy. So, you know, highly recommend a blunt weapon for this entire area. Even if you're not like, you know, normally using a blunt weapon, like you're doing an Uchikatana run, I recommend switching to a blunt weapon just for this area. It doesn't have to be upgraded. It just has to be blunt. If you are curious and you do not know if you what counts as a blunt weapon and what does not, feel free to you know, leave a comment. Ask me about your weapon. I will let you know. Otherwise, you can look it up if you know, don't feel like asking me. I don't know why you wouldn't feel like asking me. I mean, you're watching the video, and I mean, I don't know why people would watch these videos without, you know, at least getting a little bit of information out of it. That's sort of my MO, right? It's like I'm the informative guy. These goo guys, by the way, super weak to fire. They get stun locked by it, so highly recommend using fire against them. Fire enchantment, once again, proving to be the best enchantment in the game. And if you disagree, well, I would like to see your doctorate in Dark Soulsology from the University of Hard Knocks. Yeah, what up? Alright, on we go. Onward and upward, inward and outward, through and across, up, through, and across. Watch out for this this crystal lizard. He can lead you into a trap. There is a guy at the end of the of this cave here. So if you're not careful, he will make you run smack dab into that guy over there. And you want to try to sneak up on this dude because you can knock him off with a backstab if you are feeling particularly spicy. His weapon is enchanted with Carthus Rouge, so he will cause bleed if he hits you, which is not good, obviously. If you can kick him off, it's... I mean, there you go. He's dead now, so whatever. Suspended bridge. That bridge is kind of cool. So right over here is the shortcut, right? So you throw the switch right here. Shortcut activates, and we're good to go. But you got to be a little careful because this entire area, all of these skeletons get back up if you come through. You can fight them if you feel like it. I won't stop you. However, if you are feeling like a real big badass, I'm going to show you guys a little tricky-dicky thing that you can do. This works if you get invaded, if you're getting chased by the skeletons as they're chasing in the Argonauts towards you. Yeah, you can hit the bridge and make it fall. And if you do that, then it's very easy to kill like 4 or 5, 6, 7 skeletons all at once. Highly recommend doing it. Up here is the High Lord Wolnir fight. Wolnir is not a pushover by any means. In fact, I would probably argue that he's one of the harder bosses in the game if it's your first time fighting him, okay? He's a boss that I don't think that you'll end up killing your first time out. I don't think that that's going to happen. If you do manage it, congratulations. That's not easy to do at all. I don't know of any NPC help that we can summon for this boss fight. And if there is NPC help we can summon, it is on that side of the bridge. And I knocked the bridge down in order to get away from the Skelemans. So what we're going to do is we're going to come down here real quick. And we're instead, before we go fight Wolnir, which I do plan on doing, maybe not this episode because we're already running a little long. Instead, what we're going to do is we're going to fight the Fire Demon, this guy right here. This guy is nothing to fuck with, but if you are clever, you can make the fight a little bit easier on yourself by having the skeletons fight with you. There are a fleet of skeletons all throughout this entire area, and they will attack the Fire Demon if you can get the Fire Demon to hit them. Most of them die twice, so you just gotta be patient and you gotta be careful. Okay, those are the two things you gotta do, and don't let the skeletons gang up on you. They will attack you at first, but if you can get them to sort of attack big bad demon man here, you can make this fight pretty easy. But like you can see that I'm not hitting him very hard, but if you can get it to happen, you can make this entire fight pretty easy. Another fun thing you can do is that there is a mimic up here. It's over there. You can kind of see the chest over there. While you're up here, the demon man will breathe fire at you, assuming that he's not presently fighting a Skeleman. And what you can do is you can get him to try to breathe fire up at you, like this, and then hit the mimic, basically. Where are you going, dude? Oh, he's just gonna go apeshit. Alright, that's fine. We'll just kill the mimic on our own while we watch the skeletons versus the demon man fight. This is the easiest way to deal with this boss, by the way, is to get the skeletons to all fight him. They deal significantly more damage than you do, and they gang up on him. And if he kills the skeletons, then there's no skeletons for you to fight. And if the skeletons kill him, then you're in for a treat, aren't you? Yeah, boom. Look at that. He's dead. I am gonna kill this mimic. Inside of this mimic chest is the black blade, a very, very good katana type weapon. It's slightly better than the Uchi katana, which you get from Katana Man outside of Firelink Shrine, and is the next in line from the katana upgrade line, I guess, if you want to put it that way. I guess that's not the right way to put it, but you know, there's that. Just remember that if you're fighting a mimic, just stick close to him, and then roll towards his legs whenever he attacks. I fell. There's gonna be skeletons down here. Oh, where's the mimic? There he is. Okay. And the only thing you really need to avoid is the grabbing attack. The grabbing attack is the hardest hitting attack out of all of them. Ooh, yeah, this is bad. Am I dead? Oh, please don't be dead. Nope, I'm alive. Roll away. It is not an instant kill anymore. It used to be. I think in Dark Souls 1 it was an instant kill to get grabbed by that attack. It does do a shit ton of damage. So, what the fuck with that? That was bullshit. I can't believe I got killed there. That's upsetting. I'm upset. This is upsetting. Alright, that's fine. I don't think that grab should have grabbed me, but whatever. That's fine. We activated the shortcut. We got all this stuff out of the way. On the next episode, we will probably take down High Lord Wolnir. Wolnir is not a pushover, but he's not hard either. You sort of... Ooh, excuse me. You sort of just need to know how to tackle him. So on that note, thank you all so much for watching. If you liked what you saw, let me know. If you want to see more, don't forget to subscribe to keep up to date on when I post more videos. And if you really like what you saw, leave a like. It helps the channel grow, helps me out a great deal. And of course with that, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Bye!